The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Kyle Bhawan. And Kyle, man, oh man, the balls are tingling. The season's about to start. And there's all this news about the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I read one article that got me kind of hyped about the potential of a Canucks-Penguins trade. And I think we got to start with the man himself, Sidney Crosby. Now, The Athletic did an article, all 32 teams and their chances of getting Sidney Crosby. And the takeaway, the Canucks, they might be a top 5 contender to get this guy.
Maybe, man. That's the key word. We might as well change the title to this episode, man. The Canucks could maybe get Sidney Crosby. That's what Thomas Grant is saying, eh? Quote unquote. I'm paraphrasing just a bit. And I do believe there's a 1% chance, but I feel as if Canucks fans have been waiting for like that crazy Alvin/Rutherford move, like the most ridiculous move. And I mean, this would connect to just that. But come on, like why would Sidney Crosby want to come to Vancouver? This team isn't as sexy as it was 12 months ago. Yeah, there's some lore there based on what happened in 2010. Yeah, there's again the Pittsburgh connection and whatnot. But now minus Rick Tocchet. Thomas Drance, this should have been a hell no. Hell no. Or like, there's no chance. I think that was the other tier, right? Like the Islanders were in that tier. Some others, the Ducks and whatnot. Yeah, there's no chance this is happening.
Yeah, I don't want to quite say no chance, but it is a slim chance. Now, the way The Athletic did it is there was 4 tiers. It was there's no way, the hell no tier. There's a slight chance, it's a maybe, and there's a strong possibility. And there was really only 5 teams that were in the it's a maybe or there's a strong possibility category. And the strong possibility teams were the Florida Panthers and the Montreal Canadiens. The it's a maybe tier was the Carolina Hurricanes, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Vancouver Canucks. Now, look, the Vancouver Canucks, they got to be good next season. But if we're in living in the world of assumption here that the Vancouver Canucks are good next season, could they swing a deal for Sidney Crosby? I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility, to be honest with you, Kyle.
Like what? Like, is like Willander and Lecker-Mackey and Mancini enough? And a first-round pick? Because you're getting like a couple more years of Crosby, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be Braeden Cootes, to be honest with you. It's Cootes and a first-round pick. Probably a roster player as well, like maybe a Nils Höglander, and then you're maybe adding another draft pick on top of that. Now, I'm looking at what other NHL teams, like what could the other contenders give up for Sidney Crosby? Like I'm looking at the Carolina Hurricanes, right? Alexander Nikishkin, the big Russian defenseman, maybe a young forward like Bradley Nadeau, first round pick. Like that's a pretty strong package right there. So I think the only way the Canucks compete with that is, maybe like a Braeden Cootes, a Tom Willander, and a first-round pick. Now, yeah. I guess, again, in the world of assumption that the Canucks are actually...
I'm doing that, though. If it's Braeden Cootes, Tom Willander in the first, like just for the lore, just for the chance to keep, I don't know, not even just like for the chance to keep Quinn Hughes. It's like Quinn Hughes and Sidney Crosby could get the job done in Vancouver. Like, let's just be real. Yes, 39-year-old Sidney Crosby.
Because again, we're living in a world where Elias Pettersson has bounced back and he's a first-line center. Like maybe he's not a 100-point guy, but if Elias Pettersson is a point-per-game player and he's still strong defensively, all of a sudden you're adding Sidney Crosby to this team, and you got the Canucks goaltending and defense looking like it does right now on paper. It's September, baby. I'm feeling good. Let's live in the world of assumption here. Could the Canucks with that lineup, again, a bounce-back Pettersson, top defense, top goaltending, and Sidney Crosby, tell me that they couldn't compete with the other teams in the Western Conference.
They could 100%.
Woo!
They could, but again, man, come on. Like, I know this is a Canucks show, but can we just run the damn segment? Can we just...
I thought this was a Canucks show.
Ito, this WIS a Canucks show.
Can we please not talk about Sidney Crosby coming to Vancouver? Like, I'd much rather talk about how Derek Forbort is looking this year. Okay, with some more realistic. I don't know, like on the other end of the spectrum, actually like legit optimism. Okay, because this is just so unrealistic. If Sidney Crosby is going anywhere in Canada, because I do feel as if, again, he's a hockey nerd and a part of that lore slash what word am I looking for, or the chance to be a Canadian hero. Like, I feel like bringing the cup back to Canada is something that he may want to do. There's a better chance to do it in Montreal. Like, it's his favorite team growing up. They have a ton of prospects. I know their defense is not as strong. I mean, they just did pick up Noah Dobson. Like, you never know how he's going to look in that lineup under Martin St. Louis. With some of the offense they have. I like their goaltending too. I'm a big Montembeault fan. But like, come on, what are we doing here? There's no chance Crosby's coming to Vancouver. Like, no chance. Like, what do the Canucks have to do? The Canucks have to be like, in my opinion, a President's Trophy type team going into the trade deadline to get a guy like Crosby. And I guess to swing this rant, not the other way, but to just like make it more broad and make it more interesting. I got to ask you, Trevor, like what's the percentages that Crosby actually gets traded? Because I want to talk about that as a hockey nerd, because I think it's high and it should be high.
Well, I'll tell you how likely it is, even based on this article from The Athletic, based on what we're hearing from his agent. You know, the Pittsburgh Penguins were one of these teams in the will Sidney Crosby stay here category. And they were in the it's a slight chance. Like, according to this Athletic article, there's a better chance Crosby comes to Vancouver than he does stay in Pittsburgh. It does seem like it's more or less a foregone conclusion that he's going to get traded. I want to say it's probably 75 to 80%. Of course, like, Sidney Crosby might have that loyalty to the franchise, but even with Crosby there, he's still an elite first-line center. Is he really going to play out the rest of his days playing for a Penguins team that not only have they missed the playoffs 3 years in a row, but are going to be one of the worst teams in the league probably heading into this season? And I just want to give some pause about the Montreal stuff just for a second. Let's just play devil's advocate here, because this is the home of the West Coast bias on Locked On Canucks. What if the Montreal Canadiens don't take a step after last season? What if they're more or less the same, or they even take a step back? I mean, just looking at some of the standings projections from the analytics guys, a lot of them aren't that high in Montreal because they were one of the most permissive teams in the NHL last season. And yes, they got Noah Dobson, but they still haven't figured out their second line center situation either. Not that the Canucks have, but again, living in the world of assumption here. But if Montreal maybe isn't as good as people think they'll be, and the Canucks are better than people think they'll be, you know, maybe the Canucks give them, at least in the short term, a better chance to win the cup. Like, no one's questioning the fact that Montreal's got a better prospect pool. They got one of the best prospect pools in the NHL. But will they be competing for a Stanley Cup, you know, before the time Sidney Crosby's like 41 or 42? I'm not 100% sure about that.
And I believe you're saying that the Canucks have a better chance than them in the next couple of years, just based on the whole Quinn Hughes thing, right? Like, that's how damn good he is. And you can make the argument that Montreal doesn't have a player close to Quinn Hughes. Even if they acquire Sidney Crosby, they don't have a player close to Quinn Hughes. And that's saying a lot, because I would put Quinn Hughes, 2 tiers above Crosby right now? Yeah. Crosby's sick. Don't get me wrong. Like, two-way force, 90-point guy, unbelievable player. But like, it's not Rutherford, it's not Alvin that gets Crosby to Vancouver. It's like, yo, I get to play with Puck and Quinn Hughes. Like, that's how sexy he is from the outside. Like, they're and then that decor and whatnot. Like, okay, Trevor, I hear what you're saying. Now, Trevor, like, I just want to say this too. Like, for me, I'm not from Pittsburgh. I don't cheer for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But I'm a hockey nerd too. I don't care about legacy so much or loyalty when it comes to, like, looking back at Crosby's career and seeing that he played with one team, like the whole Mario Lemieux thing. Because, like it or not, Crosby at this age, and this is saying a lot, is playing at another level than Mario Lemieux was at the later stages of his career. Like, when he was tutoring Sidney Crosby back in like 2006 or whatnot. Like, again, an incredible player. You know, we don't talk about it enough. Like, Mario Lemieux, it could be in the discussion of the second best player of all time, for real, 100%. But right now, Crosby at what? How old is he? 39? You said 39 or 38? 38, 30,
Yeah, I believe he's turning 39.
Yo, he is so damn good right now. Like he is. I feel like he's as good as what was when the Pittsburgh made the finals, like in 2016 or whatever. Like he's so incredible, and the hockey fan in me is like, yo, I want to see him go somewhere. I want to see this guy playing April, May, and June. Like I feel like we're in the era of hockey where like more eyes are on the game than ever. Look at what happened last year at the Four Nations tournament and whatnot, right? And I just want to see that guy before he leaves. And we saw Ovechkin get the spotlight. We really did. He beat the goal record, right? I want to see Crosby get that type of spotlight at the end of his career as opposed to only having like the send-off, right? I want to see this guy play big games. And the whole Team Canada thing, cool. At the Olympics, sure, he's going to be there and he's going to dominate. Thank you very much. But I so want to see Sidney Crosby in the playoffs before it's all said and done. And again, that has less to do with the lore and more to do so with the way he still plays the game. Like an incredible talent, so hardworking. Like he's still a playoff prototype player too. Like I want to see him dominate in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
100%. I mean, again, he's a guy that deserves that chance, and he actually just turned 38 years old. Like, is there a chance Crosby's got 5 years left and maybe 2?
Whoa, Trevor, man.
Look, Chytil can play to 47. Why can't Crosby play to like 42, 43?
Tom Brady.
I'm not saying he's gonna be elite for that long, but could he play for another 2 seasons at a pretty high level? I think that's a possibility.
Okay, now you're making me think, bro. Yeah, if the Canucks are like one of the best teams in the league somehow, some way, and they have incredible goaltending too.
And they've shown a history for trading with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Oh, yeah, and this team is run by the guys who used to, work with Sidney Crosby. Like,
Great.
Look, I'm just saying it's within the realm of possibility. That's all I'm saying, Canucks fans. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's in the realm of possibility.
So Trevor Beggs, again, isn't this interesting? He wanted to do this episode really bad today. He's like, yo, let's talk about Crosby coming to Vancouver. Thomas Drance saying maybe. Boom, bam, do the math. Who was just at training camp? Thomas Drance, and who else? Trevor Beggs, right? So maybe like there's some rumors going on that we're not knowing about, and there's some conspiracies going on surrounding Braeden Cootes, right? Like, oh, Cootes is way better than anyone thinks. Braeden Cootes should have been a top 5 pick last year. Oh, Braeden Cootes. Oh, let's get this guy to play NHL games. I see why you guys want him to play some NHL games, because you want his trade value to go through the roof, and before you know it, it's Tom Willander, it's Jonathan Lekkerimäki, it's Braeden Cootes, and a first-round pick for Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, okay. I'm not sure the Canucks will quite clean up the farm to that extent, but when it's Sidney Crosby, you certainly got to consider it.
But you just said there's 3 or 4 years left in this guy.
Yeah, maybe 2 at an elite level. Yeah, for sure.
So why not? Yo, because Crosby, Pettersson, and Hughes with good goaltending. And this is why the Mancini thing is really interesting, too. I think he does, like, in a theoretical world, like, he makes Willander a little bit more expendable. But I'm not going there because I like Willander, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm trying to say, Trevor, okay? Do the math. Boom, bam. But, man, oh, man, Crosby, Pettersson, and Hughes with good goaltending is a lot better than a younger JT Miller, Pettersson, and Hughes. And that's because Crosby gets it. He's disciplined. He's focused, not an asshole, good teammate, quiet. Yeah. Anyways, well, look at this damn. I know we got to get to a break, but look at this damn. Mother Knucker saying, Kyle, you smoking that good stuff if you're depleting our cupboards that much for Sidney Crosby. What are you talking about? Well, okay, let me say this, Mother Knucker. Would you trade Tom Willander, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, Braeden Cootes in a first-round pick for Quinn Hughes? Think about it that way, buddy. You bring Crosby here. Extend that window, okay? Come on, man.
Yeah, of course, there's some cap gymnastics that would have to happen, or Pittsburgh would have to retain. But yeah, I'm not sure if the trade would look like the Canucks' 3 best prospects and a first-round pick for Sidney Crosby. That's giving me some pause. And yeah, but again, it's going to be a big haul for Sidney Crosby. Now, let us know in the comments: are me and Kyle just smoking that good ish, or is there just even a slim chance that the Canucks could get Crosby if they're good next season? Okay, Kyle. On the other side, maybe we'll touch on a couple other Penguins targets because Crosby's the only guy there on a team that looks like already a seller in September. Let's get to some news and notes as well, including Nils Höglander spot in the lineup and Vasily Podkolzin's new contract. That's all coming up next on Locked On Canucks. Before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel. The NFL season is here. NHL preseason is also here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for all the action with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Man, oh man, that FanDuel app is so damn easy to use. Even I can use it, man, and I don't even know how to use technology. Looking at the lines for this week, man, oh man, my Seahawks underdogs on Thursday night on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. Kyle, I know you're betting on the Seahawks to emerge victorious on Thursday night. And let's go, baby. So are you ready to play? Go download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. Whether you bet on the Seahawks against the Packers or whatever it is, go to FanDuel and place your first $5 bet today.
Boom, bam. People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, and your comments again here on Locked On Canucks. Dan Jardine saying, how about Braeden Cootes, a first, and Sawyer Minyo? Kyle Dubas, this guy has 2 phones. He would smack Jim Rutherford in the face with one of them, and then Patrick Alvin with the other one, okay? Come on. It's got to be a lot. Crosby's still like an elite player. And there's going to be a legacy tax. A little bit of one. For real. Even though, if Crosby does ask for a trade, they're going to be respectful and let him, do whatever he wants and, get him out of town. There's going to be somewhat of a legacy tax. And to me, this is like 3 first-round picks pretty much. So it's like Tom Willander, Cootes, and a first. Who knows what else they'll ask for. Boom, bam. Yeah, Sawyer Minyo's not going to be part of this equation to me, Trevor. Anyways, what other Pittsburgh Penguins are on your to-do list? Wait, is that...
Oh, what?
Okay, hold on. Okay, my bad. That's... Crosby's a good-looking dude, though. That's why I said the best-looking... My girlfriend never says this, but some of the best-looking dudes are from Canada. For real. Masari, go Google Masari. Jim Carrey and Sidney Crosby.
Jim Carrey, way better looking than Drake, that's for sure, man.
Well, you can't say that in 2025, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Whoops, my bad. Getting canceled again. I think there's only 2 other Penguins on the list that really catch my eye, and it's Evgeni Malkin being another center, again, a year older. But I obviously I don't think the cost to get him would be as prohibitive, right? Like, I'm looking at the Claude Giroux trade when he was 34 years old. That was like a prospect of first and a third. Or the Eric Stahl trade back when he was 31 and went to the Rangers. That was 2 seconds and a prospect. So Evgeni Malkin is certainly the more attainable target. The other guy worth keeping an eye on is Rickard Rakell. Now, the Canucks obviously have a need for centers over wingers, so the fit's not necessarily there. But Rakell is a player this team has had interest in before, and he's like one of Marcus Pettersson's best friends. I think either he was a groomsman at Marcus Pettersson's wedding or vice versa. Like, these two are bros. So there's a connection there as well.
Let's do whatever it takes to please Marcus Pettersson. That's Operation Vancouver Canucks. That's how to get to the mountaintop. Okay, whatever Marcus Pettersson wants, we got to build the whole team around Marcus Pettersson. You heard it here first by Trevor Beggs.
Yep, there you go, man. Do it for MP3, man. MP3s never go out of style.
Yep.
Yeah, do you used to have an MP3, Kyle?
I used to, and what songs were on it? I know that's what you're asking me. The first song I ever downloaded, and Trevor, I feel like I'm not alone on this program because I'm sure you did the same thing. The first song I downloaded off LimeWire, allegedly. Come on, Trevor, you got to use that word when you tell us what your first song was. It was "Sweet Child O' Mine" by Guns N' Roses.
Nice. There you go, man. I think mine was maybe like "I Write Sins Not Tragedies" by Panic at the Disco. That one moved up there for sure.
How about what's that song that goes? Back on your corner in the pouring rain. What's that song called?
Oh, Maroon 5. It's "She Will Be Loved" or something. Yeah.
That was one of the first ones too. All right,
no worries,
Trevor.
Kyle, you will be loved by your hot girlfriend, man. That's a guarantee here.
Thank you. One love to my hot girlfriend. And I don't know if my hot girlfriend would want Evgeni Malkin on the Vancouver Canucks. Just because it makes no sense. I feel like Evgeni Malkin, I mean, I don't know, like, what are the fancy stats saying about this guy? Can this guy still drive play? And like, is that what, I don't know, Trevor, like, right? Is he still a second line center, or is he just like collecting a check and doing his thing? And rightfully so. He's played for a long time, like one of the best players of all time, too. Evgeni Malkin at his peak. Bro, I was so jealous. So jealous watching highlights of this guy just dominate the league. And, when Crosby was out multiple times throughout his career, even in the playoffs, I mean, there was Evgeni Malkin and who was the other guy? Maxime Talbot, just winning a Stanley Cup for Crosby and the Penguins. All in all, though, like, I don't think Malkin is nowhere close to where he once was, as opposed to like Crosby, who is still kind of close to his peak.
Look, I'll say this about Malkin. He still put up 50 points last season in 68 games on a terrible team, and he didn't really play with any good wingers. So I still think Malkin can be a second line center. I wouldn't be paying like a first plus for him, but like that package that Eric Stahl got, like 2 seconds in a prospect, like to me, if that's the return for Evgeni Malkin, like you absolutely got to consider it. And he's in the last year of a deal, paying him 6.1. You see this being his last NHL season. Like, I think there's even a higher chance that Malkin gets traded this year, unless he just says, screw it, I've won my cups, I just want to ride out in Pittsburgh.
So a second round pick in Aatu Ratu, you would do it?
Depends how Ratu plays this season. Because again, this team does not have a lot of centers in their pipeline. If Ratu, even looks like a third line center potentially, and he's 22 years old, like I'd probably steer towards trading somebody else other than Aatu Ratu.
Sawyer Minio, right?
Yeah, I don't think Sormani's got this crazy value, and he has not had a fantastic camp or preseason, to be honest with you. So, I'd be pumping the brakes on the Sormani train. Let him go cook in Abbotsford for a bit, and then maybe we'll talk about this again in a couple months.
You heard it here first. Trevor Beck saying Sawyer Minio is taking a huge step back in his development.
Wow. Okay. Kyle, let's wrap up on the other side with some news and notes. I want to get to Nils Höglander, where I think he fits in the lineup. Just my thoughts after chatting with him at training camp. And then, of course, Vasily Podkolzin's new contract. It's looking very similar to Nils Höglander. We'll get to that, some news and notes and your comments to wrap up here on Locked On Canucks. Before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at Monarch Money. Now, Kyle, busy podcasters like you and me, we don't have time to track the RSPs, the TFSAs, properties if we owned any. And hey, guess what? When you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives, baby. And if you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch is there for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNHL.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Do us all a favor, hit the like button, support the show. It helps us out a lot. Trevor's got a wife and a couple of kids, and I got a girlfriend, man. So do the math. We need all the help we can get. Speaking of you and you and you and you, let's get to the comments here again on Locked On Canucks. Okay, Kevin Matsuyuki. I don't even want to say the last one because we're going to get in trouble. Trevor, don't even try. No, Trevor, don't even do it, okay? The Canucks would be idiots to make this move. We need to build our talent pool. Crosby wouldn't put us over the top. Like I said, Kevin, I'm not going to say your last name. I want to talk about Derek Forbort being the best seventh defenseman of all time. That was the plan for the episode. But here's Trevor, saying, let's blow it up for Sidney Crosby, man. 38-year-old Sidney Crosby. But there's no truth to that. Like, Crosby would put us over the top, no?
Well, again, living in the world of assumption, the season hasn't started yet. But if the Canucks have a top 5 defense, if they have one of the best goaltending tandems in the league, and they have a middling offense, yeah, Sidney Crosby, he comes close. He at least puts you in the contention conversation. That's for sure.
Yeah, again, Crosby, Pettersson, and Hughes and Demko, like that. I mean, if we thought Miller, again, Pettersson and Hughes could get the job done. I mean, Crosby's better than Miller. Still, that's crazy, man. Anyways, Niels Höglander, you talked to him, and before you give us some of the quotes, go read the article too when it comes out. Is it already out?
No, it'll be out in probably the next hour.
Okay, so before you go into the specifics, speaking of Miller being better than Crosby, I want to ask you this, and people, let us know in the comments. At their peak, who's better? Niels Höglander or Vasily Podkolzin? Because I think there's only one answer, and it's obvious.
Sorry, after Niels Höglander, Podkolzin, who's better?
Who's better? Like at their peak, right? Like.
Oh yeah, it's clearly Niels Höglander, 100%. And I know Vasily Podkolzin is beloved in Edmonton, and he's beloved by Leon Draisaitl. Guy still had 8 goals last season, largely playing with Leon Draisaitl. Like Kyle, I think you could probably bang at home 5 goals playing with Leon Draisaitl. Maybe even more. Hey, you were just a finisher around the net back in your ball hockey days. But look, Niels Höglander leads the Canucks with 24 even strength goals last season. In a year where they had one of their best seasons in franchise history.
2 seasons ago. Right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. 2 seasons in 23-24, right?
Yeah.
Look, I think he's gonna be better than the 8 goals this year, but I do wonder, like, what is the peak for Niels Höglander, and can he be consistent? I think one of the most interesting things from my conversation with him was he talked about how he needs to do a job of, he needs to change his game playing with the top players on the Vancouver Canucks. I'll try to pull up one of the quotes here, but he was basically just saying that, when he plays with the top players on the team, he feels like in the past he's had to, he's been changing his game. And the quote was here. So, Petey's one of the top players in the league. And for my game, when I'm playing with those guys, I'm not going to lie. In the past, it feels like I don't play my style when I play with those guys. And he goes on to say, when you play with those guys, you want them to have the puck and I go to the net. It's about sharing the puck. Says he still has to be that pretty player, but he also has to win pucks down low and go to the net. And he says when he plays with those guys, he's got to play his game and not be too fancy, which I found interesting because Niels Höglander can be a pretty fancy player sometimes. I have some hesitation about him taking that out of his game because when he has the puck on his stick, I think he can be one of the most creative guys in the NHL. But, Kyle, what are your thoughts on that? Like, can Niels Höglander strike that balance between still being flashy with the puck and making plays, but also doing a good job of being a net front guy who can bang home goals, Kuzmenko style, if he plays higher up in the lineup?
I mean, I'm sure he can, because that can't be the hardest thing to do for a skilled guy, and that's like position yourself in front of the net and bang home goals. Like, that's the bare minimum. Like, his floor to do that would be pretty high, in my opinion. Now, is that what we want from him? I don't know. Like, I want Niels Höglander to tap more into like playing like Kiefer Sherwood, just being a dog all the time. And I think that's Höglander's problem. Like, sometimes he's a dog, and then I feel like sometimes he gets bored of being a dog, so he tries to be like, I don't know, somebody who carries the puck in and quote unquote attempts to drive play, which is cool and all, which is cool because you want a guy with high skill and the instincts to do so with the puck to, again, like do good things, because that's in his repertoire of, ability in the game of hockey. But I just feel like if he's going up the lineup to play with like a Besser and a Pettersson, or Kane and Pettersson, whatever, just I think that, like, based on his skill set and based on the bare minimum that he can do with the puck, if he just told himself that I'm going to be a dog on the bone every single shift, this guy would A, turn into a fan favorite again, and B, still generate a lot of offense because he's retrieving pucks. He's big enough to do so. He's drawing penalties, right? Like you can be an uber net positive. And to me, I feel like sometimes he's either not picking one or just overall not doing the most to stay engaged in the game, because sometimes the puck luck doesn't go your way. When you're playing against those top guys, like you're playing against the best defensemen in the league as well, and when you don't have the confidence, like you're going to get checked. And maybe like he gets down on himself when it's like, yo, when those things are happening and the puck skills are not going your way for like a couple of minutes or a couple of shifts, go back to finishing all your checks. Go back to drawing a penalty. Like there's been so many times in the last couple of years, actually not so much last year, but the year before, well, yeah, Nils Höglander scored 24 even strength goals. Congratulations. And you did a lot of things, but bro, how many times prior to him slowing down towards the end of the 2024 season was he drawing penalties or just knocking players off their game because he said something in Swedish or something? I don't know. Or he's just annoying for real. So to answer your question, I don't know if like I want this guy to be a net front presence. Can he just be a piece of shit again, game in and game out?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. And, one thing he said that he worked on this summer primarily was his skating. I wonder how that could benefit his game. Like just digging into the data, this guy was pretty much league average in terms of speed last season. But I'm just very curious where he's going to play on opening night. Like, him and Garland have had some success together. Like they've outscored the opposition over the past 2 years, 17-9 when they've been on the ice. But with Teddy Bluger as their center, I'm just not quite sold on that. I still think the best spot for him, I've said this before, everydayers know, would be for him to earn a spot alongside Elias Pettersson, push DeBrusk and Kane down the lineup. Can he do it? I mean, that's going to be on him at the end of the day. But, Nils Höglander at the end of the day is one of the biggest X factors for the Vancouver Canucks this season. Like, making $3 million a season, he's getting paid like a third liner. But if he can finally prove that he's a top six winger and be consistent, then that contract's going to be a steal for the Canucks. And look, Kyle, I honestly believe he's got the potential to do so. But again, that's because we've seen the skill in flashes. He ended last season on a high note, but he just hasn't done it consistently aside from that 23-24 season.
Yep. Lacking the confidence. Do you think it was like a Rick Tocchet thing too? Like Rick Tocchet, I mean, dude, I used to be scared of watching Canucks games after Nils Höglander would make a mistake and the camera would pan at Rick Tocchet. This guy was just like hated Nils Höglander, man. But I think he hated him because there's no excuse for Nils Höglander, in my opinion. I know he's still a young guy and he's been through a lot of coaches, but there's no excuse for that guy to take shifts off. Like, just go be the dog on the bone. You could do that. Just go be that guy. And there's so many times where he's not that, and then he's doing nothing, and then, like, the puck's on a stick, and he's making a bad turnover or a bad read, and it's like he can't build on the confidence. And don't you think for a player like Höglander, he needs to just stack shift after shift after shift after shift after shift after shift to, like, find his game? And isn't that easy to do when you finish your checks? I know he's not keeper sure when he's going to get, like, eight hits a game, but I don't know, watching, he's one of the most annoying players to watch because it's like, yo, there's no excuse for you not to be involved. Like, this is year 5 of Nils Höglander now here? Year 6 coming up? Like,
entering year 6, yeah.
Yeah, just go be that guy. Go be a great forechecker. Please.
Go be that guy, man. And I'm cheering for him because, Kyle, like the little guys like you and me, both in stature and below the belt. What? We got to cheer for guys like Nils Höglander. He's probably one of the only guys in this team, maybe him and Connor Garland, that are shorter than me. I thought we might be the same height, but I stood next to him. I'm like, damn, I haven't got like, half an inch on this guy.
You kind of look like Nils Höglander, man.
What's that?
You kind of look like Nils Höglander.
No, he's got better hair for sure and less facial hair. But, my beard wasn't quite as good at 24 years old either.
Yeah. So anyways, Podkolzin at his peak, nowhere close to Nils Höglander. Because let's touch on this a bit. I mean, let us know in the comments. Do you guys regret trading Vasily Podkolzin for Eric Brandstrom or whatever? Like, I forgot how that trade ultimately worked out. It was like a 4th round pick.
Podkolzin in the 4th, yeah. It was Podkolzin for Vander Kane, remember? Because we traded the 4th back.
Yeah.
That trade was a mistake, but I have the same take that I had over a year ago. It's like I'm not losing sleep over it. Like, Podkolzin is a bottom 6 forward. Like, he should have been on the Canucks. Like, in hindsight, it was a mistake to trade Podkolzin and sign Heinen. But the Canucks didn't have confidence that Podkolzin was going to be anything more than really a 4th line guy. And, he's got the work ethic and the defensive details to play higher up the lineup. But his profile is a bottom 6 winger. Like, that's just what he is.
Like Danton Heinen.
Like Danton Heinen.
Yo, then why are guys like Draisaitl like Draisaitl is so competitive and like, I don't know, like why would he? Because $3 million, I know the cap is going up. That's still a lot of money. Like, wasn't there a world where you can get like Podkolzin for like $2 million. You know, like what was the rush here to get into $3 million?
Look what the Oilers just did with Trent Frederic as well, right? Like Stan Bowman's kind of doing his best Jim Benning impression and overpaying the bottom of the lineup guys, right? I know they put Frederic on the top line at practice today, but look, Draisaitl loves puck holes so much because he works his ass off, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever going to lead to this big offensive breakout. In fact, I don't think it's going to. But he works his ass off, and guys around the team, they respect that.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy because I remember when Jim Benning made that hometown pick because, like, that was the Vancouver draft. And, yeah, we picked Podkolzin, and Benning openly said that he's going to need some time. And I respected Benning for making that pick, considering that he was on the hot seat, yet he picked a player that did need some developing. And I was like, you know what? I thought this guy didn't have the best interest of the team or the long-term future of the team in mind because of all the stupid shit this guy was pulling off year in and year out. So again, when he pointed out his potential and the long-term ramifications, if that's the word I could use here, of that pick in the positive light, I was like, yo, cool. Thank you. But man, oh man, like, I mean, I guess it's a good time to end the episode, considering that I just traded Braeden, Cootes, Tom Willander, Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, Valentino Mancini III, Elias Pettersson, and then some for Sidney Crosby. But like, there's a reason why the Canucks just don't win games consistently over the last 10 years. And who knows what's going to happen this year. And it's because up until recently, our drafting is just pathetic. Like, I know we got Quinn and Elias. I know. And I know we just got DPD and whatnot and all this jazz, and I'm still high on Tom Willander, but there is that stretch there where, holy crap, yo, we just missed so many times. And now, look at me, I'm balding. You know? Come on, man. It's like, what a life, man. The silly Podkolzin. Who else could we have gotten? Matthew what's his name? Matthew Boldy, right?
Matt Boldy or Cole Caulfield. Yep, those are the two, man. But Kyle, don't worry about it. You still got some hair on your head, and it's September, man. Okay,
sorry.
Come on, the Canucks could still be a good team this season. I'm believing. Hopefully, you're believing, and hopefully, you enjoy this episode of Locked On Canucks. If you like what we're doing, go like and subscribe on YouTube on the podcast side. Go follow us. Leave a 5-star review. Helps us out a lot. A link to the Discord in the bio. Talk with the best Canuck fans in the world while you're in bed or on the toilet. That's the life, man. Living the dream. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan. Go Nils Höglander, go. And you've been listening to another episode of Locked On Canucks.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.